That was better way than I thought. Excellent. Right. Okay. Oh dear. Right. I want to move on to the creation of this person. Okay. When I was born, my mother and father submitted a birth certificate registration application form, a piece of paper. In the formulation of any company, anything within this legal world, there is always a piece of paper. Always. Do you want to get that? The fictional person known as John James Harris, my given name, was created by this piece of paper. My name was given to me, and it wasn't chosen by me, evidenced by my birth certificate. It's not a bad name, so I'm not really that arsed about it, but when I submit an application form, when you submit something, I actually bend to someone else's will. I actually agree to that by doing it. When I register, I'm handing over legal ownership of whatever I'm registering to whoever I'm registering it to, the body that I register it to. When I apply, it actually means I'm begging. And it is assumed I know what I'm begging for. And I know exactly what I'm willing to give up by begging. And most of the time, I volunteered these applications. I wasn't made to do it. This is the document. Now, since doing the last talk, a lot of people have contacted me and said, oh, my birth certificate doesn't say this and my birth certificate doesn't say that. Well, I'm glad they did that, because that actually made me look at it again. Do you know the history of the birth certificate? Does anybody know? Well, the GRO, which is what this document is registered to, if you actually lift a birth certificate up and look at it in the light, you'll see GRO. As long as you were born before 1856. After, I should say. Prat. But as long as you were born after 1857, the GRO was formed in 1856, and the birth certificates actually started in 1857. This is why they all say this GRO, General Register Office. When you get your birth certificate and look at it, you'll notice it's a certified copy. It's not the original copy. Because it can't be. You could never have the original. Because if you destroyed the original, so does your person is destroyed. So you only get a certified copy. And all I'm going to say to you at this moment in time is make as many copies of that document as you possibly can, because you're going to need them. Because I'm going to show you what you can do with it. No, just copy it. Just photocopy your birth certificate and make as many copies as you can, because you're going to have some fun with this document. They want to piss with me, I'll piss with them. It's as simple as that. And I suddenly realised how easy it is. It's going to be so easy to do, and I'll show you after. It's part of the talk. The given name of the person being created is not always capitalised. Now, there's this big world about capitalisation. I don't know if you know the legal world, a lot of what they do is capitalisation. If you look at most of the corporations, they're always in capitals. Always. Right? But there's a big thing about capitalisation. But the given name of the person's father, mother, is not always capitalised. But there has to be. That person has to be there. Okay? But remember, that person is a piece of paper. So it can't physically walk in the office and pick up a pen and sign something. So there has to be a human being to represent it. The qualification that you've got, or I've got, which I did to my kids, is that I'm the father. And that gives me the ability to inform on my own child. I actually inform on my own child. I don't know I'm doing it, but I actually inform. The declaration at the bottom. A declaration resides in common law. A declaration, it will actually say a declaration, but it won't be a signature. It will actually be the name wrote. And the declaration is to prove there was a human being present to represent this. Oh, it's a wall, isn't it? I forgot about that. It's not a screen. But it's absolutely true. So this declaration proves there was a human being there. Because without that human being there, how could this piece of paper toddle in the office and declare there is a baby being born and I need to register it because you need to create a person? Because if you don't register, then the state has no hold over that human being. Because the only hold they've got over you is because of this piece of paper. Everything in their world, everything in the legal world. A doctor recently contacted me from Amsterdam. Lovely bloke. And he was pulled up by the General Medical Council, which is a corporation. It is, you can go and check it out yourself. Go and check it. You don't need me to know. And they're not all limited, and some are non-limited. You can actually look at the differences. I don't understand it. I don't want to understand it. I just know that they're a company and they're not meant to be a company, and it don't matter to me. The excuses I've heard are unbelievable. I don't want to know. When someone can come up with a really good reason why they have to be a company, then I'll listen. And as long as it's in words I understand. Because a lot of the words that people use to explain these things, I don't understand. And have you ever noticed that these words are about that long and they actually mean something that long? So why not use that bit in the first place? Or is that to beef up the status, the ego, because I know these big long words? But this document, this doctor, okay, he's saving people's lives by alternative medicine and actually curing people of cancer. And he was struck off for doing it because he's saving people's lives and the farmers couldn't make their coin. Okay? He sent me a bundle of paperwork. And there is 1,500 sheets of paper in this bundle. And he's got 10 of them, and that's one case. 15,000 sheets of paper for one case of him curing someone of cancer. But the title they're taking away from him was given to him by the Medical Council, because when you register something, you hand over whatever you're registering to whoever you're registering it to. But does that stop him being a doctor that he's been for 30 years? Just because he's lost DR before his name. Believe me, after tonight, there's probably a lot of people in this room who put a lot of different words before my name. They do anyway, believe me, and after it. This document is what you've done this to your kids. Seriously, you have done this to your kids. You don't know you've done it. That's the point. You've been duped. It's deception. And what's deception? It's fraud.
Yes, doesn't it make these contracts null and void?
That's a good point. And that's a very good point. I would like to see a proper court of law, not a corporate court, if we could ever find one. General Registry Office, corporation. Okay? That's what you registered it to, corporation. To this day, it's still made. Do you know the history of registration? Do you know what it was about? It was about a ship coming into dock. Do you know that? Well, ship coming into dock, when the ship docked, do you know why it's called a dock in a court of law? Absolutely. Yeah, the Sea of Rome. The sea, and it's not got an A in it either. I don't want to get into that. But basically what happened, when the ship come into the dock, the ship's captain would get off and actually register everything on that ship with the harbour master, including chattels, slaves, everything. They became the possession of the harbour master. Do you know the word liberty? Do you know where liberty comes from? Because people talk to me that they're losing their liberty. Liberty is a grant. Liberty was given to a sailor to pass port when a ship docked. He was allowed to pass port under certain conditions. What happens when you go to an airport? What do you have to produce? You just don't relate it. A bank. A bank directs the current, directs the currency. What do? You deposit on the bank. The current deposits things on the bank. It withdraws from the bank. It's so bloody obvious, staring you in the face. But you just don't know it exists. This is their world. As I have seen, the most abusive way that this has been done is the registration of births. And a simple show of this...
Sorry, I'm sorry to interrupt you. I really didn't understand
Well, basically what it is there's, right, I don't want to get into it because it's quite complicated, but well, it's not, it's very simple. There's a common law, okay, which is meant to be the common law for everyone, okay? This is what common law of the land. Admiralty law is the land of the sea. So everything it's to do with is the sea. So if you look at everything in the legal world, it's basically what happens when you leave a police station, you're bailed out? Passport. There's so many. How many have we come up with? Dock in the court. Yeah. Cash flow. It's every single word relates to Admiralty law. And if you want, it's the law of money. Okay, that's all it is, because that's what basically this is all about. To show that a simple show of my children no longer belong to me, and I will get into this, is that I have to have my children mandatory vaccinated. I did, not no more.
Excuse me, that's not true. I don't vaccinate my kids. I mean, there's a lot of...
Well, funny enough, in Hertfordshire, it is mandatory.
Is it?
Yes. It is very mandatory, believe me. They really are forcing it big time. And parents are suffering at the hands because they're refusing. They come down on the parents. Even social services turning up at the school without the parents even knowing. They're walking into meetings. And absolutely. Huh? But social services are actually, we've got information about this recently. Like social services are actually being called to meetings in the school. The parents are getting there, they don't even know the social services are there. They walk into a meeting, there's 2 teachers plus the social services.
And the government is pressurising the GPs to pressurise the
Absolutely.
clients.
It's all pressure.
And they give them the institutes.
It's apply, yeah.
Money.
Well, that's how they work. It's called apply. Yeah, they apply pressure. Everything that they do is about applying pressure. But it's mandatory education. It's not mandatory to send your kids to school, but it is mandatory to educate them. And I can't take my kids on holiday when I want to. And I do know, and I have evidence of parents being fined £100 for taking their kids out on in term time and taking them on holiday. They've received £100 fines from schools who are corporations, trading names. I know that because it happened to a friend of ours actually at my son's school. That really does happen. If you don't manage their property properly, the social services get involved. And I put PLC there because as far as I'm concerned, they are. And you can see all the different services are there. If this is not real, what's it doing on this website? What's it doing where you can check up whether these are doing good business?
Is the website real?
Absolutely. It's not now, but it is real, I promise you. There's got about 160 million corporations on it, worldwide. Go and check your own. Well, what we're going to do, I'm not going to defend it. Right. I understand what you're saying. I can appreciate that. But until that's removed...
Well, what that DMB says is bollocks, basically.
Oh, is it? Okay, that's fine. That's your opinion. You're entitled to that opinion.
How much they pay you to say that?
Fair play. That's fair. Yeah, that's fair play. Well, so this right. Whoa. Right. Let's not have a battle of the egos because that's basically what it's going to end up being.